Hi there, I'm Pedro Goes, and this is the 10x Your Character podcast, a dialogue experience in which I interview millennials and post-millennials from different backgrounds with the goal to inspire you to become a responsible individual in society. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Hey there, Pedro speaking with episode 3 of 10x Your Character. Come on, guys. Super pumped for you guys to listen to this episode ahead of you with Lucas Goes. For those who don't know, he's actually my brother and a great mentor of mine for the past, several years. He's definitely shown me and kind of guided me on how to become a responsible individual in society, which is actually the theme of this podcast. But the primarily reason why I'm super excited for this episode is because it's on a specific topic that, matters a lot to me, which is anxiety. For those who don't know, I've faced a lot of that, and I still do. And the focus of today's episode is not only on why we have anxiety and why we have fear towards, the future and hardships in our lives, but what are some actionable steps that we can, develop to be able to face those and be able to progress and move forward despite the anxiety that we face on a daily basis. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys enjoy today's episode and keep growing and becoming the best version of you. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast. Today's podcast, I'll be interviewing a really close person of mine. He's actually my brother. His name is Lucas. Welcome, Lucas.
Hi, thank you for having
me. I think it's going to be a special episode because he's been definitely a mentor of mine for the past couple of years. He's definitely helped me on the road of becoming the person that I am today. And I decided to bring him on board because I do believe that he has a perspective that not a lot of people do have in our current generation. And I thought that he would be able to bring valuable concepts and ideas that you could implement in your life and potentially create a better future for yourself. So if you can, just give us a little understanding of who you are so that people that will be listening to this.
Sure. My name is Lucas, and as my brother said, I'm his brother. And I'm a musician. I'm very interested in philosophy and psychology and all of these things. But mainly it's music that I'm interested. And I guess once you're in music, the music itself is philosophy because when you listen to it, depends of the genre, but usually brings stuff to your mind, and then you start wondering, and then everything connects between music and thoughts. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's mainly what I do. It's music, it's my passion, and philosophy. That's that.
Love it. The topic that we're going to be discussing today, which is something that a lot of you don't know that I do have, but I do have a lot of anxiety on my daily basis. I'll probably getting touch on some points in specifically how it plays out in my life, so maybe I can shed some light. Maybe someone is going through something right now and they feel like they're the only one, but it's really the topic is overcoming anxiety and fear. And the first point that I want to talk about and get your thoughts on it is, why do you think that we currently live in a generation where there's so much content, and a lot of it I think could be positive, or the intention behind is positive, like it could be motivation or self-help material, but at the same time we have such high levels of depression and low self-esteem, and I guess not a optimistic, and not the naive optimism, but not a naive optimistic view towards the future. What do you think? Because it should be the opposite, right? It should be there's a good amount of motivation, and therefore a good amount of I guess,
right,
people that are experiencing anxiety.
But firstly, I want to maybe say that there isn't one person that don't have this anxiety inside of them. you might not know that you don't have it now, but
One day,
at some
at some
point
point in your life.
it's gonna pop up, and then you're gonna freak out. But it's regarding the content thing is, I think it's because this motivation things, I don't know if I'm too fond to that, because it brings too much expectations, and then I mean, I see it as them trying to, well, it helps in a way, but in a different way it's difficult, because once you start putting these expectations that everything's gonna be okay, I don't think this is helpful at all, because when you see life itself, it sometimes it's not gonna be okay, and then I think a better way to say it's gonna, there are gonna be tough times and difficulties and all these things, and how to cope with that, instead of saying that, well, everything's gonna be okay if you do this, a formula that your life is gonna be perfect and it's gonna bring happiness to your life. And I think this is very naive.
Yeah.
It's very naive.
But
and it's almost like a childlike mind that the world is perfect and you're not gonna meet people that are gonna do.
if you do this and this, the life will be as you always dreamed it would be.
No. Yeah. First of all, you don't even know your dreams. I don't think. Well, you might know a little of it.
Yeah, but there's always room of like uncertainty and I guess lack of understanding, because you're so complex. You understand so little of yourself that you understand a glimpse of the
what
interest you have, but along the road it always changes, right? That's why I always tell people the point of setting a goal is not to actually achieve it. It's just to give you direction.
Yeah, right.
Because as long as you start taking action towards that goal, you're gonna become someone, or you're gonna learn things that you didn't know before you started, and those things that you learned along the way will change your mindset or your perspective of, maybe you'll decide, oh, maybe I didn't even want this goal actually.
Right.
I thought I wanted it, but as soon as I saw what it takes to achieve it, I don't want to have to sacrifice all that or whatever the case is.
And another thing is that it's scary to go in depth inside you to understand what exactly that you want, and the effort that you have to do to that, and the possibility of not working, or all these things, and
of you doing all the work inside of you and not even
and not going anywhere. But I guess honestly, in my view, is that when you do that, when you try to understand yourself and go deep, see the things that are inside you, it's gonna work in anything that you do, because you'll see that no matter the circumstances, you'll see that this thing that you did, this work inside yourself to try to understand these things, will help you no matter where. So it could be your work, it could be, for example, music for me, and all these things, and you're not gonna be putting too much pressure on you too, because you understand what's going on inside you. But this thing about, oh, you do this and that, you're gonna be happy, or you're gonna achieve your dream job, or you're gonna be this. No, I mean, this is, for me, it's very.
And why do you think? Because everything, when it comes to the marketplace, because people have made a market out of it, right? Business.
Yeah,
they're not just putting content out there because they like putting content.
In fact, if you put good content, you're not gonna have too many people to buy it, because you're telling them the truth, and then they're like,
truth hurts.
Yeah, and they're like, oh no, but this is very hard. Well, of course it's hard. It's truth.
Look at the complexity of life. It's
you're
like
not
you can expect an easy solution. And why do you think that? Because the fact that it's a business in a way, like it's put in the marketplace for maybe profitable or personal brand, or growing a specific, like let's say you're a coach or whatever, and you're trying to grow, and you're putting out that positive content out there in order to grab people to coach with you, right?
Yeah.
What? But no. What I mean is, why do you think that? Because if it is a business, it's all about supply and demand, right? The only reason why the person is continue to put the content is because there's people purchasing, people watching, people
Yeah, because
listening
they're
to
desperate.
yeah. And that's my question. Why do you think so many people look at this content? And I feel like deep down, even when, because I'm a not a I'm a witness, right? Like I was there, I experienced that. I was reading as many self-help books as I could get my hands on, thinking that going to events and networking, all this even though it could be good, you can read a book that it's trying to empower you to become a better person or pursue a career, etc. It's not necessarily in of itself a negative thing, right? You can
No,
have
it's not
positive.
bad, but I think first of all, for you to become a better person, you have to understand what's wrong with you, like what's bad with you, what you could potentially do bad. Because if you don't know what bad is inside you, how can you do good? I mean, you can pretend you're good, but
Yeah.
you're not really good because you don't know until something happens, and then something inside
Yeah.
you that you don't know comes out, and then you're like,
Yeah.
what's that?
I mean, I guess the simplest scenario that you can put into play is even driving. How like this anger comes out of you, out of like a sudden, as if it's just hitting on you, and as soon as someone cuts you off, the words you say and the anger that you get out of like a 2-second scenario, you see how like there's things inside of you that
But then the people are gonna say, I don't know where this came from. Where do you think that came from?
Yeah.
It's inside of you, and it's not. It didn't originate all of a sudden came out like that. It's deep inside you, and then.
And if you don't work on that, that's gonna have a long-term, really negative effect over the course and aspects of your life, like your relationships with other people.
Yeah, I mean, like some people say, "Oh, I didn't know. I did this, but I didn't want to." I mean, what do you mean? I don't understand. Like, I didn't want to. You did want to do, because if you did it, and this is the thing, people take the circumstances of what happened and they put the blame on the circumstances. Okay, the circumstances are cooperating in the way that you're gonna do the thing that you're gonna do, but what I mean is that
there was will behind.
Yeah, there's inside. It doesn't happen like all of a sudden you said, I don't know, I didn't. It wasn't me or something. It was you.
You had the will, the free will to make the choice to pursue that path.
Yeah, and then, well, if you don't go deep inside you and understand the things that you could potentially do, everything that's gonna happen, you're gonna say that it's what's the word for it? A coincidence or something like that. It's not a coincidence, and the pattern is gonna keep repeating because you don't know what's inside of you. So I don't know if I could give an example. I don't know. Right now I can think of an example, but for example, betrayal or even anger or all these things, it's inside of you.
Yeah.
And then if you don't go deep and see that you have this,
the root of it.
Yeah, that you have this inside you. You're gonna come to a situation that you do it, and then you're gonna say this thing. You're gonna say, "Oh, it came all of a sudden." No, it didn't.
Because of this doesn't happen. That's why.
That's why I was like,
way.
no. Yeah. I mean, it's like, inside you.
Okay, but the fact that you reacted that way proves that it manifests itself in certain scenarios. And why does it manifest itself in certain scenarios? And should you allow it to be manifested? Like, is it actually positive thing for you? And if there's other people involved in the scenario, for you to does that not show actually the essence of your character in which you?
Yeah, I mean, when the circumstances come, this is exactly when you know someone. Like,
it's like when times get tough.
Yeah, then you know them.
And like you're committed to someone and they just leave you.
Yeah,
and you're just like, wow, this person all along, they were telling me that they were tough, that they were courageous, and all that stuff. And this person, the insecurities build up on that, and they're like, wow, like life is tough. Like, why should I be with someone that makes my life even tougher?
Yeah. I mean,
and then boom.
If you don't know, if you don't know yourself. Well, you're never gonna know yourself 100%, but the more you do the work, you're gonna understand the good parts and the bad parts, which I think when you know the bad parts, the good parts come easily, because you're trying to prevent the bad parts to manifest all the time.
I really like Jordan Peterson plays this scenario. He's like, if you want to start creating a future for yourself, you need to make a little hell scenario and then a little heaven, so that every time you wake up, you should strive for heaven. I mean, strive for heaven. I would hope. And but at the same time, why is it important for you to create the little hell scenario? It's because something to run from.
Right.
In a way, like you're so scared of it that it becomes a motivation for you to strive to become better, because otherwise you won't take the action. You need to have something there needs to be a burden, a responsibility behind your back in order for you to move.
Right. And the other thing too is that coming back to the thing that people think that everything's gonna be okay, or everything is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The world is full of good people. First of all, once you understand yourself, you're gonna start understanding people so much more, because the difference between you and this person is nothing. It's the same essence. I mean, the background is different, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, how your family raised you, and
the personality.
That's a different thing. But this thing that I'm talking about, it's inside every single person in this world. And once you understand it, well, some people are different. I don't know, like you could probably manage anger better than I do, or I don't know. Anyways, but the things are the patterns are equal in everyone.
Mm-hmm. It's like I some people are like, how can someone be Hitler, right? And it's like, do you not understand that you have the capability of being manifesting such evilness by your actions? Like, you can put yourself in scenarios and environments in which you start shaping your mindset and becoming that person, and essentially you start acting like it. It's not, of course, it's not simple. Like, oh, I'm gonna become, but there is a possibility. Like, if you're raised in, let's say, a obscure scenario, like where you're constantly beat up and you're constantly fed stuff.
Well, you're living hell. Why do you want heaven for other people? You want hell, bring them to hell too. And I think it was Jordan Peterson, or I don't remember now. I think it was him that he's talking about evil, and then the only way to prevent evil is to know the evil is inside you, and then you can prevent evil from other people. So if you're too naive that you don't think that people can do evil to you, they'll just tap on you, and then that's it. You don't know, because you don't know. You're just like someone to walk over, and then people
are gonna know that, because they'll sense the naiveness and they'll just take advantage of it. And I like how you phrase that, because the only way for you to prevent evil from happening to you and from you becoming an evil person is if you actually understand
evil, because
evil and how you're capable of it. Because if you don't think you're capable of it, whenever you start taking actions towards becoming or acting evil, you won't even know it. Because you're not even aware of you haven't even conceptualized. Because people think of evil like as something, someone killing someone. Okay, that's part of it, but you can be evil just like in a normal day, like by the way you treat your parent and the way you talk to them. And it's not evil in the sense of like you're harming someone deeply, but it's the start of it. Like it's the, I guess, the most superficial form that it manifests itself, like the anger or
well, hell has many levels, right? I mean, that's how
and how do you think an individual in the midst of this whole complexity of personality, understanding the world and understanding themselves and the people around them, how do you think that they can develop the courage to overcome? Because as you said, like some people say that they don't have this anxiety, but it's inside of all of us, and it's going to become evident, and it's going to manifest itself in different scenarios, right? If everything is good, really good to you, it might not manifest it right now, or you may use...
it is actually manifesting in boredom.
Yeah.
Because you don't think about boredom. once you get bored like this, this anxiety is inside you. It's trying to show. Boredom is the surface of it. And then when you lose everything, or you lose the thing that you hold tight to it, and then comes the anxiety. But if the anxiety comes before the boredom, is a good thing, because your soul is trying to it's trying to tell you, like, wake up, and you see,
like, deal with it.
No, not only deal with it, but it's like Kierkegaard. He is always that's who invented this theory and all of this.
I love it.
He says everyone is holding tight to something. It doesn't matter what, or it could be money, it could be a relationship, it could be anything in your work, and you put your self-worth in that. You think you are this thing. And once you lose it, who are you? You want to kill yourself because you don't have this thing anymore. You don't have this thing anymore. So you who are you?
Yeah. I think you're the one who told me the scenario, which, like, the guy says, which explains that conceptualization, right? The guy says, swimming is my life, right? Swimming is my life.
I think I heard that on a podcast. I don't remember.
Swimming is my life. Swimming is my life. You know, I don't know what I'll do without swimming. And the second, like, he gets in an accident, he can't swim anymore. He's like, life is worthless. I don't know what I do. I'd rather be dead. Because you go into this extreme sorrow and despair because you put your whole self-identity and worth into this this temporary thing that can be taken from you. So that's why I say, like, when people say I'm leaving for my family, right? I said I understand the motivation behind it. It's like, it's a noble pursuit, but taking care of your family is a duty. It's not. It's something that you must, right?
Yeah,
but the thing is, at the same time,
value. I mean, when you say that I'm leaving for my family, yes, you're gonna protect your family. You'll die for them, but it's not that. It's not that you'll do complete self-sacrifice yourself, and to the point that you're not even anyone to be someone for your family. That's the thing. Like, you actually want to better yourself so that you can be a better person for your family. Not say, I'm gonna sacrifice my health, everything for my family. When not only that, the thing is, look at this. It's very logical to think this way. It's if you make for example, your family, let's say you're the greatest thing in the world, and then you're value
in your life.
You'll do literally anything, even if it's evil or not for them. It could be money, it could be a relationship, it could be work,
whatever.
You would do anything for it. You would lie, you would kill, you would cheat on people, you would anything for this thing. And then you're sacrificing the good for something that you think it's yours, like it's you. But the thing is, first of all, you're killing yourself doing that, because you don't have anything inside you. You don't have a persona. You don't have a soul, for that matter. And then you're doing good. You're doing evil for other people. You're destroying other people, your family, because you think when you do that, you're doing good for the thing itself, but you're not. Yeah. It's actually bad. It's bad for yourself, for the family, and the person the other people that are destroying. So it's just it's
like kind of like when the mom tells the son, like, but if you continue when you're doing drugs, you're not just harming yourself, you're harming us. Like, you're hurting our feelings, and like, you're destroying your family, right? So it's the same aspect. Like, by you acting in a way in which you're bringing evilness into the world, into other people's lives around you, instead of trying to conceptualize what it means to be good and trying to bring that out out of yourself, you're not actually you're sacrificing the truth and goodness for the quote unquote happiness of your family.
See, this thing
so what do you think an individual, I mean, because it's such a complex idea, right? And when Kierkegaard is talking about this concept of you're holding tight into something, and the second you lose it, you'll see that you were empty the whole entire time, but you just found yourself a way to distract that emptiness, right? That anxiety, which is the void that we all share. It's like, it's common to all humans. how do you think an individual can develop courage to face this anxiety and to face the fears that come with it? Because it's not easy. It's not like, oh,
No,
now that I know that
no, it's
there's
not.
this void in
We're
me.
human beings, but the other thing too is people could use ethics
Mm.
in a way, being good. I should be doing this. I can do this. Blah blah blah. And then, if you understand that this thing, ethics too, could be your way to minimize this anxiety. Understand this. If your goal is to be good, by being good, you think this anxiety is gonna vanish. Once you do something bad, you're gonna beat yourself. You're gonna be, so much blame on you, so much,
so harsh on you.
so harsh on you that you're just doing the same as someone that has their job as their priority or whatever. So the thing is, I think to first of all, this anxiety is not gonna go away because we're humans. We have to deal with it. We just have to deal in the best way that we could. But I think it comes back of understanding yourself and seeing how bad and good you are at the same time. And then not only that, when you understand that you're bad and good, you're going to start having more compassion with other people, because you see how hard
it is for you to
for you itself to do something good, or when you fail people, and then when you look at someone, you're going to see that they're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna. I'm not saying that you're gonna let people do whatever they want, but you're gonna be more compassionate in a way that you see that,
because you see that
what's in me, it's in them.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that hides this compassion and empathy in all of us humans towards others and even ourselves, which is important. And that's something that I've learned. Right, I thought that by being so harsh on myself, I was going to make life easy on me, but I realized that that's completely not true.
No, because once you fail...
Because life is hard in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
By you being tough on yourself in terms of you never allowing yourself to fail and grow from that, you literally create a hell in your life.
Right.
And I did that like for a good part of last year, because I was just striving, and the second... And that's the anxiety. The anxiety from this perspective manifests itself in my life when it comes to work. Because here's the thing. I work and I'm fine, right? And then I'll take a day to relax, or let's say a day for fun, and I'll feel like I'm being unproductive. And it's not really I'm being unproductive. It's because when I'm working, there's like purpose behind it. I find my reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that gets me through it. So there's meaning, right? It sustains you through this anxiety and the suffering that it's present all along throughout our day. But when it comes to the fun, it's not that there's not purpose there. It's just it has more room for the anxiety to come out, and right. I'm like, I should be doing something else. Why am I having fun? Why should I have fun?
This thing, it keeps telling in your mind, and you start blaming. This is the thing, because you have let's say the purpose. Your purpose is doing the job, and then when you're not doing it, you think that you don't have any value, and then you keep putting in your mind like,
if I'm not working, I'm not doing anything with my life.
And then the blame comes because your self-worth is in this thing. So you're trying to achieve whatever it is. You want the perfect of whatever scenario it is. But coming back is, I think, for people to deal with this anxiety, they have to try to understand themselves, because you're going to be able to see people so much easier. You're not going to be judging people. This thing about judging is so weird, because once you're pointing to yours. I don't understand. Like, it's very weird, because once you point to someone, you're actually pointing to yourself. You're just... And then there's that thing too, that the things that you see in others that you hate the most is the thing that it's inside you.
That's why you hate it so much, because it hurts you, the fact that you're seeing it in someone else, and you'll get even more pissed if it's someone you love. Yeah. Because then you're like, it feels so connected.
And then once you start seeing these things, first of all, it's hurtful. because
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna start seeing, well, this is me actually, and then
Mm-hmm.
you start doing the work, and then once you understand that more, you're gonna be more compassionate, and then, for example, there are two types of people I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Is one is that the person is naive, that they don't know like these things, and then people are betraying them, they don't even know, or they're doing stuff
Or
to them and
would you
damage
consider the
because
denial as part of the naive?
Huh?
Would you consider a person that's in denial of this a naive person?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes they don't think like
Uh-huh.
people are doing stuff to them, or they evil to them, they don't know because they're not even thinking about that. And then
Mhm.
there's the other people that see, this is the thing, they know deeply inside them the things, so they start projecting these things on the other people. So you're always thinking that people it's gonna do something to you because it's inside you, that you know that you have. So for
So-
example, I don't know, like
Trust, for example,
first
you
and
won't
trust.
trust anyone because you
You know that he
yourself
would do
that you know you're deeply yourself that you can be trustworthy.
yeah,
It's like if you tell me that everyone is untrustworthy, that starts with you.
yeah,
Because if you're generalizing, that includes yourself. You can't take yourself off the hook if you're putting the whole human existence on it. And I believe in that so much. It's so true. It's just you're judging someone on the basis of something that you do yourself.
yeah. So I think, for example, someone that is very trustworthy, if I'm not saying that they won't trust someone, of course, because they know that they could do too. But the more you are, the more you're gonna trust people. But the more you are not, the less you're gonna trust people, because you know that, oh, this person is gonna do what I would do, and then you're just watching for them. But sometimes people are not gonna do because they are trust. You can trust them. But
Yeah.
so I think
It's heartbreaking to see that people, and I think that second I guess personality of a person to on how to act when it comes to this, like how you say they project whatever it's inside of them into the world, into the relationships. They're the most let's say they're untrustworthy, so they won't trust someone else, and they'll break someone's I don't know, they'll break a relationship, and that the other person will be hurt as a result of it. But in reality, the person who's most hurt is that person that caused the whole issue itself.
But they can't mask
denial.
that. But they can mask that. They can say, "Oh no, I'm not feeling."
It's pride. It's like it's pride to believe that everyone is making those mistakes, but you.
Yeah,
and that's what hides compassion and empathy towards others. Pride. You feel like you're entitled to make mistakes, but the other aren't, or you feel like everyone is doing a certain thing, but you.
So, and then they say, if I were there, if I was this person, blah blah blah. Come on, I mean, this is very stupid to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
like, if I were the president, if I were blah blah blah. I mean,
If I was there, I would have never acted that way. And it's like,
I mean, you could possibly not do it, but first of all, you have to understand the background of the person. Why this person did this, all these things.
Their whole experience throughout their lives. Yeah. Why didn't they end up there? What was the
I'm not saying that
exactly?
they're not bad in itself. They could do this knowingly that they're doing bad and they did it. But sometimes people do it without even knowing.
Yeah,
what I mean is that psychologically, I mean, someone that did something bad for the other person, they might not be thinking they're doing bad because, the way they were treated, it's normal to them.
Yeah.
But once you understand that is bad and you still act upon it, then it's a difference. You're being bad.
It's like if you're blind to it, you kind of have the free pass to do it because you deeply on the deep, I guess, focus of it. You don't really know you're committing it, but as soon as you become aware of it and you're still committing, you're in trouble, man. Like you're a lot worse than the person who's committing and is not aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing that Jesus said. He says, if you were blind, you wouldn't be judged because you're blind. But now that you know the truth,
Yeah.
and you're still blind.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
what if you don't know something? How am I gonna be judged for something that I don't know? Like, it happened, but now I come with the truth and tell you what's right and wrong, and that's bad, and then you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're blind.
Yeah.
And then you can be judged because you know you're doing something that is bad.
Yeah. I think that setting goals for the future is a big part of my lifestyle that I've built. You know, I journal daily. I try to look deep into why I'm thinking the way I am, or why I'm trying to pursue the things that I'm in the pursuit of, and why I want to become the person that I see myself becoming. And these are all goal setting, right? Like looking at the present and looking. I mean, I would actually suggest you start at the past, right? Understand your past, why you've gone through, kind of analyze your past so that you don't bring into the future the negative aspects, right?
That's telling before it's the coincidence that everything that's gonna happen. You're gonna say it's coincidence, but no, you brought that to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't know, the world is working in a way that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that this pattern that is inside you, that if you don't go deep on it and then understand that this is how it works,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna keep bringing yourself to situations that every time it's gonna happen, the same thing is gonna happen over and over again, and you're gonna say, well, this is coincidence. You know, so I don't setting goal is good, but I don't think you first coming back to expectations, you cannot put 100% expectations. You're expect to work the exact way that it's gonna be, or because either way, if it happens or not happen, you're gonna be fine. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not gonna be gonna be.
No, but I think that, I mean, when I set goals, I use it as a reference point, because if I don't have
I mean, you're gonna be shooting
guidance,
everywhere.
you're just gonna be sitting, and that's worse for that anxiety, right? Because I'm not saying that the goal of the goal of a goal is to run from that anxiety, but it's, if you don't have a set pursuit in your life towards the future, you're gonna sit just in suffering and anxiety.
Well, boredom. I don't know if it's Kierkegaard, but I don't even know if that's the quote or anything like that. But I think in my mind, boredom is the playground of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
When your mind is like empty, or you're not doing anything, and this is where the voices start coming in your mind. And I'm not saying at all for you to, when these things start coming to your mind and you run away to do something, because actually this is a good thing to start listening to these things to see what's going on inside you. Because some people say, when these things start popping up in your mind, or first of all, you could use in two ways. One is try to run and then numb yourself with something, TV, playing games, or whatever, calling people, and the other one is trying to understand why is this thing showing to yourself. This is only showing your heart, actually. It's just showing what's in your heart. Same thing with dreams. Dreams are just showing what's in your heart. I mean, in your subconscious mind. But first of all, you have to have a goal. Of course, you have to have a point to walk.
The guidance.
You can't just. I mean, it could work that you try everything, and then once you get. But I think
that, like, it's in a way a strategy and a habit that I think everyone in this generation should be doing in order for them to become because by setting those goals and actually striving for it, you're gonna start building some traits to your character that are, I would say, crucial to be able to even experience a place of solitude where those things come. Because if you're super insecure and your self-worth is super low, or it's in the wrong thing, and you're getting to that moment of boredom, solitude can be very dangerous, because you're just gonna get so overwhelmed by it.
Right. I mean,
but if you, like, you have you at least you're in the pursuit of setting your life in order, and you're trying to set goals to becoming a better person and striving for more so that you can be more than you are today, then I think you set the foundation for you to be able to deal with those things when it comes to anxiety or what's in your heart, and start working on bettering that and getting rid of the mess that's in there, because there's a lot of
Right.
mess. What do you think that is a habit that you've implemented into your life that has helped you deal with this anxiety and fear towards in the present, but also because I feel like a lot of anxiety comes from the future, right? You don't Once you're here in the present right now, there's not much anxiety in this conversation, right? But
I know. I think again, Kierkegaard, he says that we suffer
more from imagination.
No, that's not that. I think it's a different thing. But we suffer the worst type of anxiety. He says. I think it's the thinking of something that you haven't lived or something like that.
Daydreaming, like
you're already suffering for something that never happened. Nothing. I mean, why are you? You should suffer when you should suffer. So when the thing happens, you should suffer. But if you're suffering for something that is still not happened, you're gonna be suffering till the thing happens, and then you're gonna suffer even more.
You're
so
just putting yourself through.
You're wasting the energy of suffering, because you're gonna suffer anyways. But you might not suffer too in this aspect. But if you're thinking about something that is gonna happen or something like that, you're just putting yourself in much more trouble, I think. And then regarding the question, you said that what
habit?
The habit, I think, is analyzing yourself constantly and seeing the things that really how can I say, it's ingrained is inside you, and trying to analyze your childhood too, because that's what you're psychologically built.
I mean, I would definitely recommend for people that are interested in kind of that are open-minded enough to understand that there's stuff that they've been carrying from their past, and they need to kind of grow the courage to deal with it. I've already taken this course by Jordan Peterson. It's called Self-Authoring. There's 4 parts to it. There's the past, in which you're going deeply down into your past. You're breaking your past down into kind of like 7 chapters and going through several experiences, and you're analyzing those experiences from various points so that you can understand what you experienced, how you would have changed then if you're still carrying that, right? And there's the present, which you go into your faults of your personality, your virtues, and then the future, trying to set your path straight towards the future. And it's funny. I'll be vulnerable a little bit. When I was going through the past, I realized that I carried this trait since really young, in which I will not open up my heart fully to someone, or I won't tell them the full truth of myself and my insecurities, my fears, because I'm scared of them not accepting or running away, right? You get what I'm saying? So like, I won't open up my heart fully because I know I could be hurt. And go ahead.
If you're with someone, or even it could be your parents, or it could be a lover, or if you really love them, you're gonna have you're giving them the power to really destroy you. Honestly, they can destroy your life if you're showing all these things to them. For example, your parents or even your lover, you're giving them
your heart,
heart, and saying,
you're handing the heart, and
listen,
please
take care of it, because I'm giving myself to you. And they have the power to put that down and walk over it, because they know your failures, your insecurities, they know. But this is the nice thing about love. If someone loves you, they're cherish that. They'll try to, but sometimes your parents or even your lover use that as a mean to manipulate you or do whatever they want. So
they'll control you.
So I think, and that comes to honesty too. Like, how can you not know how bad you are to say, look,
as soon as someone else tells you their part, you like walk away?
I mean, you're
it comes back. It comes back to the pride, or sometimes actually I don't even think sometimes it can be pride. I think sometimes someone can be, let's say, in you can have so much burden on you that as soon as you, let's say in case of a loved one, you're going through so much stuff on your personal life and work, whatever it is, in general, your life, and someone, now you just partner up with someone, and in a couple months you realize that they have so much themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not at the stage in, I guess, in life, or you're just not mature enough to understand that that's just the reality of life, and you're not gonna find someone who doesn't have those things. But here's my point is, I feel like sometimes it's not necessarily pride that they hide, that they have those insecurities and stuff that their partner will have to carry as a consequence of the partnership. But I think sometimes that person is barely courageous or does not see that they have the strength to carry their own burden, that as soon as they see that their partners, they're like, I'm sorry, like I can't carry that much.
But you see, this is coming back to the thing that I told you. Once you know the bad in you, you've seen this thing, you start having compassion for other people, and then you start, everything becomes not easier but lighter in a way, because you know that it's in you. The things that you're going through is the same things they're going through, but in different ways. So you try to help each other, because honestly, it's much easier for someone to hold your burden than yourself holding yourself. So when you try to share your burden with someone, and then they're trying to hold that burden with you, it's much easier. So it's you're giving them your burden, and then they're giving yours, and you're trying to help each other to hold both together. So, and it takes two people instead of one, so it's much easier. But you have to have maturity enough to understand these things, I think.
Yeah, and I think sometimes experience brings that. And sometimes not necessarily experience in the terms of you living the experience. If you choose to like start developing your character and reading books, etc., you can start conceptualizing those things. And if you're reading nonfiction, you can learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't have to commit those mistakes. But some people are just not at the stage in life that they're ready to commit to someone, because they're not mature enough to be to realize the reality of what it is to a relationship mean, right? Because it's not about just love, it's about commitment. But I think go ahead.
I think one thing is like you have to understand, you really do have to understand yourself, because it's not only in relationships but in anything. For example, let's say you're someone that is very easy to anger. Like you get angry and you want to fight so easily or something. And then you start seeing this in yourself. Why would you go somewhere or put yourself in a situation that you know that you're going to be angry or you're going to do something? So you start viewing things beforehand it happens. And in a way, for example, in you're saying about relationships, it could be like that too. I mean, you're putting yourself in situations that are bad for you, not for you, but your partner too. It could be in work. If you know that the things that bother you at work, or things that you would bring this bad thing about you at work, and you putting yourself in that situation, it's not responsible on your part. You haven't dig deep, inside you.
You haven't developed true personal responsibility. And what would you say it's your favorite book that you've read that has changed the course of who Lucas Goes is?
I think Crime and Punishment is something that, well, first of all, to begin with, is I think Mere Christianity is like a book that when I read, I was in a point of my life that I was kind of, I think I started thinking about soul and all these things, and responsibility and what's life and all these things when I was around 17, because I guess that's when
Life gets real.
it gets and you guys you start thinking like,
What am I gonna do?
what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
What's me? I mean, all this
Yeah.
time I don't know myself. And then I start reading philosophy and all these things, but nothing is like
Bringing.
any sense, nothing. I mean, it was helping, but mere Christianity is something. When I read that book, I was like, what's going? I mean, and then I started reading philosophy more in that perspective and about morality, what's right to do and what's bad to do and what's horrible. And then I think Crime and Punishment from Dostoevsky, which is a classic. It's one of my favorites. It's it's beautifully written, and the story is really nice too. And it's basically talking about morality. I mean, I think these two are my favorite books. Yeah, I think these two.
And what would be the number one advice you would give to someone in our age group, like as a millennial or post millennial, if they're currently maybe trying to become a better individual or just make sense of what it is to pursue that? Because I feel like a lot of people in my generation, in your generation, they genuinely deep down want to be good individuals, and you can see in their work ethic some of them, and some of them are just idolizing specific things like money and pursuit of work and stuff, relationships, romance, sex, etc. You can always find your thing to get away from the personal responsibility that you need to develop as an individual in society. What do you think that would be your best advice to someone who is open-minded enough but hasn't developed the courage to start the journey of becoming a better individual?
I think you have to understand that you're not gonna be good all the time. You're gonna fail in being good and doing the thing that you want. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is getting up and trying it again. Not failing in trying it again, I guess. Because if you think you're gonna be good from today to the day you're dead, you're naive, or you're just a liar, because you're gonna hurt people, you're gonna fail on your goals, you're gonna do all these things. But the thing is, once you understand that your goal is to do it again over and over again, and I'm not giving excuses for you to live stupidly. I'm not saying, just because you fail, you should do whatever you want.
There's a balance, like, between self-compassion when you fail, to delusion or excuses to actually commit on
I
actually
mean, you're gonna say
doing
everyone
your whole
fails,
best, right?
Everyone fails.
Yeah.
No. You have to admit that you fail, and it comes from the heart. It's not you're saying,
like, man, everyone, I saw someone do the same thing.
No. It comes from the heart. You know that you failed, and you feel ashamed, and you feel all this. It makes you feel bad. But the thing is, if you just reside in this guilt and all this thing, this is different. You cannot. You have to go past over it, and then from now on, try to become good. And again, if some people are gonna hear this and they're gonna say, "Oh, this is just an excuse for you to do whatever you want to." No, I mean, if you're honest enough, you're really trying to, walk on a straight line. But yeah, I think you're gonna fail in many ways, but the thing is, just stand up and do it again, and honestly, not just trying. Oh yeah, I failed. Everyone fails, and this is life. We're humans. Yeah, we are humans, but
the fact that you're human and you can understand the fact that you're failing should give you more of a burden, in the sense of that you need to develop more responsibility and become stronger, because you have the ability to, because through growth of hardships and failures, they actually strengthen you. So the purpose of failure is to strengthen you for the next hardship that is going to be along the way, because it's going to come. And if you that's the point of like putting yourself in the uncomfortable zone, right? Because if you're just constantly comfortable, as soon as the hardship comes, you're crushed by it.
Yeah.
But if you've put yourself in uncomfortable positions in which you've allowed your character to grow and your personality, and you've developed more skill sets in all aspects of your life, when you experience a more hardship, you're gonna be able to overcome it to a better extent. Like, for example, maybe you've developed self-control and self-worth, so then when the hardship comes, you don't get into depression.
Right.
That's one step. And then next one, let's say it's a financial crisis, but you've educated yourself on, I don't know, let's say your industry is marketing. You've educated yourself. You know how to acquire clients. You know how to set up the structure of your business. And you lose the client, you can acquire a new one because you've already done it. So that's the point of setting yourself in a comfortable zone, is preparing for the future, because it's going to come whether you like it or not. You can just sit and expect it to your life to maintain the way it is, because you won't. And that's I think the way we could end there. How can people reach you if they want to discuss music or philosophy, or even the thought of becoming a better individual, if they liked the way you speak and what you bring into
well, I'm
world?
not in social media a lot, but I use Instagram and I post some music there sometimes. My Instagram is Lucas Goes, Lucas Lucas, Goes Goes, and then yeah, you could reach me there. But I'm trying not to use social media as much as I do. But yeah, that's the only. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. So thanks, guys, for watching. For those who have stuck this far, I hope you guys understood and try to, conceptualize the message. I know it's probably going to be very, very deep for compared to most podcasts and content out there. But I think that it's the starting point of actually building the character. You got to go to the foundation of who you are and start developing growth from there, and not starting superficial. So as soon as you get hit by a wave, you go down. Essentially, you rather experience the difficulties that it is to go deep inside yourself and analyze yourself, so that once you do and you start growing from that, you set a foundation so you won't get crushed when you experience hardships or waves or whatever. I hope you guys can comment and send feedback if you guys think we should touch on specific subjects, or you want another interview with another guest that has already come into the podcast, or if you have someone that you would like me to interview. I would appreciate if you could give us some feedback in the comments. And as always, just keep living your best life, and don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I highly encourage you to go ahead and take the content in which you have just listened to and apply it into your life. I think it's very important for us as individuals to not just watch or listen to content, but actually get those ideas and concepts and lessons and apply it into our lives. Now, I would also request you to send us feedback. If you've liked today's episode, or if you have not, please submit some information and tell us why. And also, if you like to hear about a specific subject, please feel free to message us, and we'll go ahead and create content about that specific subject. Or even if you would like me to interview a specific person, make sure to reach me on my social media platforms, whether on my YouTube or my Instagram or my Facebook. I would love to, start a conversation with you and gain some feedback in what you guys are thinking about the podcast. So thank you so much, and I hope you continue working on becoming the best version of yourself.